extension of their own truth within themselves and not pay so much attention to what the rest of the world thought. And I have a scripture from Galatians that I like that I think Charles somehow innately knew. Am I now seeking human approval? Or am I looking for approval within? Because if I'm still pleasing people, I'm not serving the Christ that's within. Charles listened to the truth within. He chose how to live his own life, and he was in charge of his own freedom. He taught us all by example. He knew the importance of listening to inner truth. And I know the body we knew as Charles Wright is gone, but the spirit we know lives on. The spirit that was Charles Wright is eternal. He was never as free as he is now. He lives as a formless self, and I feel that spirit with us today. Our relationships with one another are precious. Our moments with each other are precious. The death of someone who's been dear to us reminds us how precious our time together is. So we treasure the memories, and we realize how much the person gave to us during the time they were with us. We realize how much they enriched our lives. So it's fitting today we take time to honor this person. And yes, we grieve. We grieve because we miss his presence. But we must also turn our attention to the gifts we've received from the time we had with Charles. We turn our attention to the eternal presence that never leaves us. And in 1 Corinthians, we're reminded, love never ends. Let us remember the love we shared with Charles, and let us live with love toward one another. Charles gave us many gifts while he was alive. He was generous. I have material gifts he gave me, things he made, and I'll always treasure them. But I treasure most the gifts of the Spirit that he gave. He gave generously of his insight, his wisdom, his enthusiasm, his love, and his joy. And those gifts remain with us. What he shared with each of us was of great value. As son, brother, husband, father, and friend, he enriched our lives with laughter and love and joy. And he taught us what he knew about life. He shared his love of life. He shared his spirit. He allowed the one great spirit to express through him. And there's no greater gift than that. I ask each of you to think of the things that Charles shared with you, taught you, and he generously gave you. Think of the gifts that you received from having him in your life. You not only learned about life from Charles, you also learned about yourself through just knowing Charles. His way of relating to others not only revealed who he was, it revealed who you were. As I've lived and lost ones dear to me, I've also learned there's always a final gift. When our loved one dies in some miraculous way, we learn something about that dear person. We learn something about ourselves, and we learn something about life as we deal with this death. And as we reach an acceptance of what at first seems unacceptable, the death of a loved one, we change. We find a new courage, a new strength, and a deeper wisdom. And from that, we learn to live our lives anew. We're awakened to the precious moments. And suddenly, without warning, as our lives may change, as it did when we learned to love with Charles, we then dig deep. And when we accept, something new emerges. We begin to realize the very nature of life is birth and death and rebirth. Those who love Charles know that with his death, nothing will ever be the same. But there will emerge new understandings, a new clarity, and a newfound peace that will allow us to live anew with love and joy that Charles lived and shared with us. And on this adventure that's life, with every turn in the road, an old view vanishes and a new view appears. We continue our adventure, and I've no doubt in my mind, Charles' adventure continues. He goes before us to explore the next stage of the journey. I know his spirit lives on. He made a transition to a new dimension. He returns to the field of formlessness from which he came, and his spirit is, as it always was, and always was, now one with great spirit. So I urge you all to enjoy your life as Charles did, and as Charles always encouraged you to do. Remember the precious moments you had with him, and remember to value the precious moments you still share with each other. Spend each day with laughter. Remember to speak love and show love to those you share life with. consciously create precious moments and precious memories. Lavish the people you love with kindness and care and honesty and authenticity and joy. And Charles lived in accordance with the scripture from Ecclesiastes, and let us do the same. So I commend enjoyment, for there's nothing better for people under the sun than to eat and drink and enjoy themselves. Great Spirit, we feel this energy today that is within us and all around us. The one great Spirit that is all. And we acknowledge that this Spirit that was Charles and is Charles is with us today. We acknowledge the love that God is, that Charles was, that we are. And we renew a commitment to love one another. And we're grateful for the love and the joy and the goodness that flowed through Charles and flowed through him to us. We're grateful for the peace and joy and wisdom and strength that is ours when we live from the understanding faith of the eternal love and life of God. And so it is. Amen.
Amen.